On episode 324 of the podcast, we're talking about culture. We're talking about strategy. We talk about adding value to others and the importance of profitability and so much more. I'm really, really excited that you're here for this special episode. What is up, friend? I am Ryan Coral from Studio Sherpas, and this is the Grow Your Video Business podcast, the show for corporate and commercial filmmakers where we talk about the business of production. We talk about sales and marketing. We talk about culture, profitability, all the things that you need in order to build a sustainable business. And I'm thankful to have been in this industry for a whopping 18 years and counting. And that has led me to be able to know people like our amazing guest today, Joey Mathews, which you are in for a real treat today. Joey is an Emmy Award-winning filmmaker, business owner, husband, and father based out of Houston, Texas. He founded 31 films in the early 2000s, capturing luxury weddings around the world, and launched Film Lab in the early 2010s, producing story-driven commercial films for brands including Disney, heard of them, CBS Sports, heard of them, Four Seasons, and Microsoft. I'm really, really excited to share Joey with you if you don't already know him. Incredible human who does incredible work. Their team is like top notch. Before we hop in, quick question. Is your website attracting high quality leads? If not, fear not. I've got your back, my friend. I've just released the Lead Machine. This is my brand new website checklist for commercial filmmakers, and it's designed to help you identify areas for improvement on your website, make simple tweaks to optimize for lead generation, and start attracting your ideal clients. And the best part is, it is completely free. You can download the Lead Machine today at studiosherpas.com/lead machine and start generating more of the right kind of leads for your corporate filmmaking business. It is my gift to you. Head on over to studiosherpas.com/lead machine and start improving your website today. All right, let's get into this episode. Roll that tape, DJ, or spin that record. No, that's not it either. Okay, let's just do it. Welcome to this episode. I have my good friend, Joey Mathews, with us. Joey, dude, this is way long overdue. Wait, have you been on the show?
I haven't. I mean, I've been waiting about 10 years for you to invite me.
Okay.
You know, yeah,
even as I was saying that, I'm like, wait, there's no way this show has been going on for as long as it has, and you haven't been on the show. So I was like, wait a second, maybe he has been on the show. Well, dude, I'm so glad you're here, and it's about stinking time.
Well, I remember, all those, we've had so many just conversations over the years, just about business and things. So I kind of feel like we have done this, but, maybe not formally.
We just haven't let the rest of the world into our deep,
let's
life-changing
pull back the veil and do it to it.
So, dude, I want to start in, I don't normally do this. I was telling Grant as we were kind of getting set up here, this is a different look for me today here at the studio. But I was just reminding Grant, he's like, who are you interviewing? I'm like, Joey Mathews. And was kind of going through, I was like, hey, a few years ago, we did this legacy piece for this one family of ours that we've done so much work with. And we did this beautiful, beautiful piece of their grandparents who had been married for 70 years or just something crazy. And I said, the inspiration piece for that was it was like this old guy. I think he was military. He was kind of looking through, old photo albums. I'm like, that was Joey and his team. That was their piece. And he's like, oh, dude. He's like, I remember that piece. You have been, and dude, I know so many filmmakers, and, we met probably, 15 years ago or something like that. Yeah. And your work has always been so inspirational and beautiful, the storytelling, the cinema, all of the things, dude. And then on top of that, what you've built culture wise with your team, and having these two different brands serving very different audiences, but creating beautiful work and building this community of people that work with you, for you. I have so much respect for all that you bring to this industry and how you've been able to serve your clients, but then also how you've been just a massive inspiration to me. So to get some time with you today, I think is amazing. For people that don't know you, your work is stinking outstanding. You and Aaron have built something that is just like so awesome. So I wanted to start there and just say, man, I have the utmost respect for what you're all about.
Dude, keep it going, man. Let's just keep this going. No, man, thank you so much. That means a ton coming from you, because I have such a mutual respect for you, just not even as an entrepreneur and business person, but as a filmmaker and as a creative and someone who's connected to those kind of emotional things. And yeah, man, I really appreciate it. And it's funny, like I feel like our whole business has been about the work. It's always like strategy, marketing, all those things have always come second or third or fourth or fifth to the work. And I think even as we'll go and look at something we did 3 or 4 years ago and we're like embarrassed by it, and I think that's always been the goal for us, is like to always be embarrassed by our work, because we're, trying to get better, but.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like, I kind of was at a crossroads more than a decade ago, where, I feel like my filmmaking, I over the years, education, practice, all those things, I was becoming better and better at the craft. And at some point, take this for what it is, but to watch the pieces that you guys, it was very obvious to me that you were putting the work first, because it was so stinking good and you kept outdoing yourselves. And I just felt like, I can't keep up with, like, you guys would come up with some piece and I'd be like, okay, sweet. Like, let's try to create something that's like that. And then you come out with something different. I'd be like, oh shoot, how did they make something better than what we already thought was the best? And so, and there are other studios, like Patrick is a good example of somebody who's just kept setting the bar up so high, and Joe Simon, another guy whose work we just respected so much. And finally for me, I'm like, I feel like I'm not tapped out as a filmmaker, but I can only get incrementally better. It's not coming as naturally, not that you guys aren't working hard, but I think there's also a natural bend to, being able to continually outdo yourself. So for me, I said, well, let me kind of go down this rabbit hole of what would it look like for me to improve in my business acumen? And can that be something that helps sustain this business versus relying on my creativity? Has that been like, have you thought through that at all? Has that ever come up in your guys' brainstorming or planning?
Yes, I mean, for sure, because I think so much of our drive, at least the first 10 years or more, it was all about, we wanted to do work that we were really excited about and that we were really proud to put out into the world. And I think like, I would see, just being honest, I would see like other filmmakers that I feel like, like weren't as good, but they were like way more successful, or it took me 5 years to start really getting a feel for like, okay, like this is a business. It's not just like a hobby that's paying for gear. And then I would see another guy, and within a year, he's already the same size company that I am. And I feel like, man, but like I thought, and I will say, as far as creatives go and filmmakers go, I feel like everyone that I watch is so much better than what we're doing. So I'm always like, like the way you feel, I feel that same way. And so I think getting more into corporate work has been an eye opener in the possibility for growth and just maintaining relationships and being able to see the opportunities that there were great opportunities on the event and wedding side, but they were totally different, totally different. And so I think as employees have been with me for, I mean, I've got Aaron's been with me for 16 years. Tina's been with me for 10 years. Britton's almost been with me for 10 years. I think our newest hire is like, has been with me for 6 years. And so, it's for me, it's like the work is important, but also I'm like, man, I have to lay down a pathway, a career pathway for everyone and make sure that we're going in a good direction and that this can be a career that people can, I don't know, retire from, you know? And so
Hmm.
that makes me start thinking more about the business side of it more and about the sustainability and, um, yes, the creative work is important and the quality of the work is important, but like sometimes that has to go a little bit on the shelf and be like, okay, like now we need to really focus on longevity and, finances and, how to book that next big project.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that probably everybody needs to realize at some point that it's a balance, right? You can't be all the business because then your work's going to be crap and people aren't going to hire you because they're like, this looks like garbage. But then also, like, at some point, like, more creativity doesn't mean more money, and more creativity sometimes means more time and more revisions, and until it's exactly what you want. And you can't do that either because then you're not making any money, and you got to make money to keep doing the thing. You know, it's just this back and forth. So
Yeah.
finding the sweet spot, I feel like, for us, it's been like the constant challenge of like, what the heck is the sweet spot?
It is. It's really hard. It's a cycle of, if we are feeling a little slow, then we're like, let's get out. We need to hit the pavement and get some work. And then when we're busy, uh, sometimes you're so busy you don't have time to, put everything that you want into something because it's like there's a stack of other things that are going on that week. And so it's all a balance. And I just hats off to my team because
Mm,
everyone is so good at wearing a lot of hats
yeah.
and
Yep.
being able to
Here too.
delegate things and being able to own a bucket of work, and this is what I'm focused on for these 2 days. And then like I have to put that to the side because we're traveling, we're going out of state for a shoot and I'm going to be on that shoot for 4 days, And this industry is really interesting because I think a lot of people, especially like in the more like narrative filmmaking world, there's this mentality that like you don't have a life outside of filmmaking. Like filmmaking, you're either all in or you're not really doing it. And I think what we've tried to do is build a real sustainable, balanced approach to where, yeah, we do good work, but we're also like that's not our whole life. Our identity
Mm,
isn't based on like the work that we're doing. A lot of us have families, and so but yeah, I'm constantly learning and constantly trying to make little pivots and little micro adjustments to what I'm doing to make sure we're doing the work that we're proud of, but we're also like paying our bills and putting away money and savings and
mm.
all that fun stuff.
All that fun stuff with the team that you've built, and that's something that I've admired over the years. And just knowing you and Aaron both, seeing your guys' journey, seeing how you do have this community that you're surrounded with of creatives and your team. Is there for people that want to build something like what you have, which the way that I see it, and it probably comes across on social media and whatever, maybe a little bit more sweet than it really is, maybe not, but it just seems like this beautiful community, this family that loves each other, that is doing really cool creative work. Like how do you recommend for somebody that says like, yeah, I want to do more than just like have a shooter editor that works for me, a project manager, and like and we're just making stuff and cool, I can go home to my family and do my thing here. But how does one make something that maybe is a little more that there is some overlay in work life and you're kind of like on this mission together?
Yeah, I mean, I think once I started having kids, I have 4 kids. Britton has 4 kids. Aaron has 4 kids. I mean, there's a lot of children between us. But I knew that I didn't want to be just like, if for us to do the really cool jobs meant we had to be traveling to Europe and we're going to be on this shoot for 2 months or what, it's like, I'd rather just not do it. And I
Yeah.
think there was a point where I set out some boundaries to where I didn't want people working every single weekend, like maybe like 2 weekends a month, or you know what I mean, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
they travel a handful of days in a month. But if they have a big travel shoot and then we have another travel shoot, like I'm going to have a different set of people on that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of so that's part of the boundary and creating being able to say no to some opportunities is hard, but I think for the betterment of everyone to not be burnt out, I think it's
Yeah.
really important to know that. And I think too, as far as the team goes, from the very beginning, I always wanted I wanted the company to be like a production company that's more of like a platform for creatives where they could do challenging work
Mm.
and they could really grow in their craft. And it was really less about me. I mean, I think I've always, I just have not loved attention. I haven't really been the guy that's like, it's the Joey Mathews film show. Like I'd rather be behind the scenes, and I personally enjoy watching someone step into something that's a little uncomfortable that maybe they've never done before, and
Yeah.
with a team of support, but watch them succeed at it, and it thrills me. I mean, to see someone
Mm.
direct a commercial job for the first time when I know that they could do it, but they've never done it, and we're there, helping them, but they do it, and it's a success, and all of a sudden it's like you can direct projects, and so for me, it's really been about respecting everyone's craft individually and being able to delegate important things to them, obviously when they're ready, but let them own it. I'm not going to be the gatekeeper with the client where it's like I have these minions doing my work and then they give it to me and then I give it to the client and I'm the go-between. No, like this person's directing this project, you talk to the client. You
Mm.
have that meeting. You walk through what the plan is going to be next week when we're on that shoot. And I think in my early days, I was really nervous about letting other people step in because I felt like it was mine. It has to be me. It has to be my
Yeah.
instinct. It has to
Yeah.
be who I am. And I think letting people rise to the occasion and giving a little bit of pressure to where if it fails, the client is going to look at them. They're not going to look at me. Um, I mean, I'd say 100 times out of 100, everyone has stepped up to the occasion and they own it. And, we celebrate that. And so I think the people that work here, yes, they do technically work for me, but I would say in the day to day, like I feel like I work for them. Like the culture is really like about empowering them to do the work that they want to do, helping them with the resources to do that work. And, um, yeah, I mean, just basically, how can I help? It's kind
Yeah.
of a running joke around here that when we're busy and we have three really cool projects and we have this really easy, like kind of like bottom of the totem pole project, the bottom one is usually one that I'll do because I'm like, I'll do
Mm.
that one. Like y'all do those cool ones. We had we had an NFL doc that we got called to do production on, and one of my guys, he's really into football. He loves doing sports stuff. And he was new-ish, but he was really talented DP. And instead of me being like, oh, it's NFL doc, like I'm gonna jump on that, I
Yeah.
was like, hey, you do that one, and it's just like I think when you're growing a team, there has to be, I mean, you have to treat it almost like a marriage, where you're
Mm.
working together towards a common goal and you're helping each other and it's a give and take. And not everything is great and smooth all the time, but I think if everyone understands that there's a level of respect that I have for them and the work that they're doing, and beyond that, like the collaboration, our work looks good a lot of times because I didn't touch it.
Mm.
Our work looks good because I had an amazing DP and Aaron directed it and like Tina was helping with a lot of the producing details and it came together and maybe I was doing this little easy shoot over here on the side and I come back and it's like, man, guys, great work, that's been the fun part for me because early on it was all about me and I was a one-man
Yeah.
band and I could kind of do everything and I was good. And I can still, I still have my chops, but growing the team has been eye-opening to me to see like the quality that we can produce when we like work together.
Yeah, dude, I mean, it's a testament to the kind of person you are. I think that for a lot of people to be able to hand off, this is a creative business. So there's this feeling, we all start on our own and we figure out how to be, or we are already creative. And then people are hiring us because of what we're able to bring to the table. So then we start really believing that people are hiring us because of only our creative, when really a lot of times it's like, no, they need something. They're, the video that they need has to solve a problem, whether it's, a wedding film or it's a piece to get, a ton more sales for their business. And creativity definitely can help propel that. But for us to believe that we're the only, we're the one, it's like, okay, well, I mean, maybe, but probably not, and they probably like the idea of you knowing that you're connected to Film Lab, right? That there's this trust that they have in you and what you've built, not necessarily knowing or caring that you're in charge of the creative at all. I remember we were on this, one of our first commercial shoots, and I was slowly trying to transition out of running a camera or even producing. And I just remember showing up on set and people were doing the things. And I was like, I kept looking at the client, waiting for them to look at me, waiting for them to be like, well, when are you going to grab the camera, Ryan? And like, do the thing that Tell Studios does. And they never did. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's like, it's the team, it's the studio, they're just trusting that. And they, they're hugging me, high-fiving me. And they're like, man, your team's awesome, blah, blah, blah. They're trusting that we have this process, or they're believing that we have this way about getting. And if that means that Ryan's just the guy that comes in, gives high fives and, buys lunch and then he's like peacing out, but we get our sweet video at the end of the day, that's what they do. Okay, cool. It's just getting to that spot of trusting. I think people need to know, what do they want at the end of the day, or 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what do they want from their business? And if they want to be the main shooter, or they want to be the main editor, or the creative director, or the director, if that's what they want, then it's going to be hard to hand that off to somebody. It's never going to be, up to where you want. But if ultimately at the end of the day, you don't want to be the person in charge of doing that thing, then exactly like what you're saying, like you've got to empower other people and let them fail and teach them along the way and give them more opportunities and learn how you can set them up for better success the next shoot. If you're not doing that part, it's just going to be a longer, more frustrating journey where you're just going to take back what you delegated, or what you kind of delegate. You're just going to take it back. It's going to be easier for you to finish it. And then if your dream was to not be doing that 10 years from now, but that's your habit, and that's kind of like where you're living, you're going to be that person doing that job 10 years from now.
Yeah. And I think too, there's like, it's very hard to grow, when you're the guy who's got to do it, I mean, there's been a few days where we've had 3 major shoots going on the same day. And we were able to divide and conquer. And, like that one shoot day was more than months of income when I was on my own doing one-man band stuff. And I met a guy a long time ago who was a little bit older, and I was always interested in getting wisdom from people who have been in the creative world for a long time. And he had a business that was very successful when I was getting started, and I watched his business go less and less and less, kind of as he got older, and but he was always telling me, like, I would want to hang out with him. He's like, man, I'm so busy. I'm so backlogged with stuff. I just can't. He's like, I've been working super late. I'm working basically 7 days a week trying to keep the stuff. And then he got burnt out, and then he started changing like what he offered, because the thing that he did offer was very handcrafted and people pay a lot of money for that, but it took a long time. And so he was like, I'm tired of doing that. I kind of want to just do the, like, whatever everyone else is doing. And less people started going to him. And I just remember walking away for that conversation, realizing like it is so limited if it's just me. You know, there's
Yeah.
when it's a team, when it's a family, like if one person is sick or one person is down, there's another person that can help prop them up, or they can fill in. Same with me. And so I think like that diversity of people on a team creates a lot of opportunities with work and financial opportunities, but it also creates like an opportunities to not burn out because you have someone that can kind of say, hey, great example is Aaron was in California where you're doing this big shoot. He was gone for like 7 days, which is kind of a long project for us. He came back on a Wednesday. They had a commercial shoot on Thursday, and he didn't have to be on it, but he wanted to be on it. So I was like, ugh. And then he had a shoot on Friday and Saturday.
Oh
And
gosh.
so he was away from his family and then came in and he does most of our sales. So he's just like doing bids and he was just killing it. But it's like one of our other people was like, hey, I'm taking your Friday, Saturday thing for you. And so you're gonna have the weekend. And to me, that's what it's all about. It's all about kind of caring for each other and respecting each other and helping.
Dude, that's amazing. What an incredible culture. One of my favorite pieces that you've ever done, I'm not sure you'd be able to guess it if you had like 50 guesses. So it was
that mayonnaise commercial, or I'm just kidding.
No, it was the promo for your speaking gig at I think it was for In Frame. Is that what that
In Focus? In Focus.
Oh man,
I think it was called
Reframe and In Focus.
Reframe.
Yeah. I was mixing the two. And you were on the treadmill. You had the sweatband, dude. That was like
that's my favorite
is that
video
somewhere.
too.
It is so good.
That was so fun to do. Oh my gosh.
I could not believe you guys came up with that. That's when like I had a ton of respect for you as a storyteller, filmmaker, and I hadn't really seen any like, quote unquote like commercial type videos from you. But to see that and then to see you guys in it, I was like, dude, this is gold. If you have that, please share that with me so that I can put it in the show notes of this because, dude, it's just money.
And what's funny is, so my oldest son turned 14 yesterday, and he was a little, I think he was a little baby when we made that. So that was like, gosh, that was probably 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
But
he was in it, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Because I was talking about storytelling and how you can learn storytelling and, and I was reading him a bedtime story. But yeah, that was a fun one.
So 20-year career, congrats. This is amazing. What's, as you think about all the things that you've been able to do, what would you say like is one of your most proudest moments in business?
Man, there have been so many milestones throughout. Some of them are like personal milestones. Some of them are like team milestones, like when someone joined the team and it was really exciting. Our business had been growing, but I had a full-time job. And so I was doing it on the side and my wife was helping run the business. And I was like, shipping hard drives around the country. I had all these editors. It was like a total nightmare. And I got to a point where it was like, I need to be all in. I need to focus because the work started becoming not as good. I mean, I would have clients be like, how's my project going? And I'm like, I don't even know who's working on it. Let me look into that. It was a mess. And so I basically quit my job. We had our baby, Jonas, and my wife basically wanted to like retire. At that point, Aaron had a pretty good job that he had, and we sat down and I think we had like cigars or something. We had this like back porch, heart to hearts, and I basically shared the vision of what I want to do with this business and the opportunity, and like let's go out and make work that we're really proud of. And it was a hard sell, but he agreed. And we basically both quit our job. My wife like retired. And so it was me and him, and we were like, let's do this. And it was just Ooh, I mean, it felt like that was when we made that video. I mean, that was
Yeah. Yeah.
not too few years later we made that video. But that was a huge milestone. I think there's been I was thinking about it today actually, just like some of the things I'm really proud of. And I'd say on the commercial side, something that, and this because you do a lot of commercial work, but as you get a commercial client, if you treat them well, if you do the work right and you do it on time and you're fun to be around, they're going to come back. And maybe they come back 6 months later, maybe they come back 2 years later, but they're going to come back. And we have multiple clients that have been working with us for like 10 years. And to me, it's like, that is so friggin' rad. I mean, the fact that we're able to sustain a career based on, I'd say 70% of the work that we do is residual clients that we've already had. And that's just amazing. We had a really kind of crazy fortunate thing happen in 2021, I think it was, where some really good friends of ours, Ray and Joyce, from Only Today, you probably know them.
Yep, of course.
They do a lot of stuff with CBS Sports, and we would shoot a lot of things for CBS Sports if it was in the area. But she would do the intro to the Super Bowl every time it was on CBS. Final Four is on CBS. They're doing the intro, and she did one with like John Malkovich. It was like insane. They shot it.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yep.
I think they shot it in like Greece or something. But their work is insane, and they're good friends of ours. Well, because of the pandemic and people not really wanting to travel, they needed help shooting the intro for the Super Bowl. And some of it was there was going to be 3 shoots in Texas and 1 in Louisiana. And they were like, are you interested in basically handling this, doing a remote production all through Zoom? Like we handle the live production, the executive producers through Zoom and all the stuff. And so we were like, yes, we'll do it. And so it was a whirlwind of just learning how to like shoot, get proxies overnight, upload stuff. I mean, because they're editing live as we're shooting this footage. Because I think we had a week to shoot and edit before it airs on the kickoff. And so we're going, and we're kind of pitching ourselves a little bit because it's such a huge opportunity, but we're really in the weeds of it. So we're just like sweating, trying to get it all done. And I just remember watching the Super Bowl. I wasn't sure exactly when it was going to play because the Super Bowl has a lot of little vignettes that they'll play.
Right, yeah.
Well, this was like the kickoff film. It was like a 9-minute film.
Oh, dude.
And it played, and my parents were at my house. We're all kind of texting each other as a team, and I'm watching it. And the first thing that I'm looking for is like, how much of our footage are they using? Because there was other production companies that were doing stuff, and it was like they were using a ton of our footage, and it looked good. It looked good on national TV amongst all the Super Bowl ads. I'm like, it's legit. It looks good. It sounds good, And it was kind of a funny thing, but it was like, guys, we can do this, which is funny, 20 years into it, but. It was just a big moment, and I told the guy, I was like, I don't know that we'll ever have this many eyeballs on our work like ever again, unless we get this opportunity again. So that was just incredible and a great opportunity. And then we found out, I don't know, months later that it was nominated for an Emmy, like that piece. And we were like, what? And, kind of couldn't believe it. And I was like, man, that's really cool. I mean, that'll be good for marketing. And then we find out it won an Emmy. And so technically, we're Emmy, we won an Emmy for work we did for the Super Bowl, which is really bizarre because we don't, I would say most of our work is direct to client. We do some agency work, but it was a really cool opportunity, and it was an honor that like some friends of ours in the industry that we respect massively trusted us with their baby and said, hey, take this to the goal line or whatever football pun we want to put in there. But that was pretty huge.
Dude, I love that. That's so cool. What a cool story. I remember we were talking about bonuses. We were kind of talking about like how we structure paying our employees, and you shared some numbers with me, and I was like, holy cow, like to have like that much to be able to like, have a profit sharing thing in place and to be able to, hand that money out to your people, I was like, this is, I love this. I want this for my business. I want to be able to do this for my employees. In order to be able to do that, you have to be what's called profitable first. Right. And then, have some kind of a plan for that. So let's just, we're winding down here, but this is a topic I would love to just touch on and talk through, like, how have you been able to, throughout the years, become more efficient, charge more, essentially become more profitable? Because who cares if you're getting, 6-figure jobs, but it's costing you, 6 figures to do the job and you're not making any money on top of that. Like, what is some of the secret sauce that you've been able to do to become profitable in the work that you guys are doing?
I would say Aaron has been a huge part of that, because I'm very generous, i.e. profit sharing and, whatever. But I kind of will, I mean, if a client were to come to me, I probably would do things for very little, and just because, like, I want to help you out, and Aaron is great at, like, putting dollars to it. And we have, like, a pretty strategic way that we bid projects where we have a certain amount of profit built into it. It becomes easier for us to make a profit. I'd say, one, because our team is, like, so friggin' good. Like, they're all like one-man bands who could, like, crush a project on their own, but, like, let's send 3 of them out and, like, let's see what we can do in a day. And I would argue that what we can produce in a day would rival what other companies could do, like, in 3 days. And not to say, like, we're the best, but I think we bring a lot of value to our clients to where they can pay us an amount of money and we will give them a product that looks like they paid us even more. And I think that gets them coming back. But for us, we don't really outsource. Everything is internal in our team. Our rates aren't crazy high, like, as far as day rates for shooters and hourlies, like, it's manageable. But then I profit share a big chunk every quarter. Whatever our profit is, I'll give them, I won't give you exact numbers, but it's a hefty amount. And I think what it does is, in lean times, it allows us to kind of float through those, because payroll isn't, like, sky high. But whenever we're busy, we're all making more. Whenever we're slow, everyone's kind of, and so it feels like, in some way, everyone has an ownership in what we're doing, and they care about the profit, and they care about not, like, wasting money on, like, gear that we don't need, or because they know, like, oh, it'd be cool to have that camera, but, like, that's going to come out of, like, our profit, and that means that I'll get less of a bonus. I think we're good with these other cameras that we've had, or, there's things like that I think have helped everyone feel like a business owner in a way. And so the way I delegate and let them own the work that they do here is part of that. But I think the profit share is another part that they grow into, as they've been with me longer, periods of time, that profit share, goes up. But it's just, I think as we've grown, and I feel like every year our revenue has gone up. And in some ways, the amount of labor that we've needed to do the work has gone down, because it's been more strategic, it's been more creative, and it's been more like, how can we do something really great, like, in a day or in 2 days, instead of, like, let's spend a week, like, dreaming up something. And there are some projects where it's like, let's spend extra time on this. Let's be less profitable on this, because this is a really powerful thing. And it's kind of hard to navigate that, but the profit sharing is fun. I love it. I love it. And I don't, money to me, I'm just not really driven by it. I'm more driven to be, like, for the stability. I just don't want us to go out of business, and I don't want us to go broke. I don't want to have to let someone go because of finances. And so when we have a big month, I'm not like, sweet, I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to do this. I put that in the bank, because I know maybe there's going to be a slow couple weeks, next month, or who knows. And so as you do that, and as you're running a business and you're thinking of it like that, it's not feast or famine, but you find a middle ground. And when things are big, you put that chunk to the side. When things are low, you take a little bit of that chunk, and that lifts you up. And I think that gives you balance and gives you stability. And if you do that for 10 years, if you do that for 20 years, for 30 years, like the amount of stability that you'll have in savings or in investments, or, like this year we're building a new office building, and this has been a big thing that I've wanted to do. I've rented, forever. And this is, I was able to pay cash for land about 4 years ago. And we're building a commercial building. These are things that I never thought would be possible, but because I've kind of made strategic financial decisions to maintain, it grows. It's kind of like it's like the investing, in stocks or anything else, really.
Dude, I love that. Yeah, I think it's really important to have a plan for your money, to know what your monthly expenses are, and then, hey, if we have a really big month, do we buy the camera, or like what can we afford, what can't we afford, and are we going to keep having really good months, or might we have a month where we make less than what we need to make, and so having an excess the month before is actually helpful. Having a plan for your money, super smart. Do you know Mike Michalowicz, Profit First author? That sound familiar?
Oh yeah.
Super good book. I had him on their podcast, man, probably at this point, a couple of years ago. One of our most popular episodes. People that listen to that episode and or read the book and apply his principles to have these 5 different bank accounts have been, it's been game changing for us, and continue to hear stories of like people of like, wow, it's like such a simple concept. Definitely recommend that book and that episode. We'll throw that in the show notes. But love how you've been able to do that and really bless your team and kind of create that investment for them to help them feel like, yeah, we are all sort of in this, whether or not they actually own the business, to have that, not even faux own the business, but because if they're getting a piece of that profit, it's like, yeah, if we can be more efficient, if we can be smarter, then they are acting like owners. And that's what we all want and need from people that are owners and or just, employees.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
All right. Last question. Dream project. If you could be doing any, in the next couple of years, if you could be working on something, what is that project for you? Where you're like, man, this would be...
for a long time, I've been starting to get slowly back into shooting on film, and I got like a really nice Super 16 millimeter camera, and I've been just, delving into shooting little things here and there. And I treat it almost like a painter, and being able to paint and be able to just create for me, not for a client, not for anyone else, but just to exercise my creative itches, and just get it out. And so I just finished my first short film that we shot entirely on film, about a music producer artist that's just super talented. He's like a sound designer, does really unique work. And so I wrote this really kind of trippy. It's very weird, but it's like it's not for anyone. It's for me, to make. Yeah. And I had so much fun. Everyone that was on it was like, man, this is really, even my wife, who's like, she's supportive, but if I'm like, hey, look at what we did, she's like, that's nice, honey, and she was like, whoa, like, Joey, this is really good. You're pretty good at this. And I was like, hey, thanks. But it's been fun, man. I'm excited to do a little bit more passion project stuff like that. And just kind of, I think as creatives, as your business grows, you become more of a business manager. And I think in some ways that creative part of you can feel like it dies a little bit, and it can be a little bit sad. And so I think it's important for people to find ways to scratch that itch and to be able to do that creative work, even if it's not for a client, but even if it's just for you. Because this is, as you know, we're in a service industry. And so we're serving our clients. And so it's nice to kind of say, okay, what would I want to do? Yeah. And, so anyway, it's been really fun, and it's interesting. I got another opportunity to do something very interesting about an artist profile, like right when we finished wrapping that I'm kind of starting some pre-production on that. So it's like, man, maybe this is kind of a thing I'm doing. I don't know, but we'll see.
I love that, dude. This has been so fun. So I knew it was going to be great to be together, but Your perspective is so good. I'm excited for people to get a taste of Joey Mathews if they haven't before, and just the way that you're doing stuff. I think it's so great, man. Have, like I said, so much respect for you. Appreciate you spending some time with me today.
Dude, it's been an honor, man. I'm a huge fan of you and the work that you're doing, and it only took 10 years, but I finally got that message. No, thanks so much, man. It was a lot of fun to chat.
For sure. I told you, Joey's amazing. You have to watch the videos. Check out the show notes for this episode, studiosherpas.com/324, and you can even watch the video that I referenced that I just adore. I just think it is like one of the most creative. I shared it with our team the other day in our weekly huddle, and everybody was dying. It's so funny. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Is there a takeaway? Were you inspired by a certain thing that we talked about? Would love to hear from you. And if you have not downloaded the Lead Machine yet, go grab that while you still can. It is my gift to you to help you build a better website at studiosherpas.com/lead machine. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, all the places at Studio Sherpas or at Grow Your Video Business. I am at Ryan Coral, all of the places, all of the things. If you liked this episode, take a screen grab, share it with your friend, would you? I would appreciate that so much. And I think that's all I got for you. Reach out if you need anything. I'm here to support you, help you however I can, and I'll talk to you really soon. See you maybe on next week's episode? I don't know. Yeah? No?